Good evening, YouTube listeners. Welcome to the Stephanie Humphrey channel. I am so excited that you have chosen to join me tonight for our virtual lifestyle series. Y'all know I've been gone for like 2 weeks, y'all. So you know I don't have the Stephanie Humphrey channel on the fifth Thursdays. Even though my mom was hunting me down, she's gonna be mad that I told y'all, but it's okay. She was hunting me down, trying to figure out why I wasn't on the show. But I'll talk a little bit more about that in next Thursday, maybe. But and then last Thursday, I was chilling, y'all. I just decided to take a self-care for Thursday and Friday. So I haven't been on for 2 weeks. So I have missed you all. How are you all doing? As I ask you every single week, how are you doing mentally? How are you doing socially? How are you doing spiritually? How are you doing physically? How are you doing mentally? Emotionally is what I missed. How are y'all doing? So I feel pretty good. I'm a little tired today. Y'all know that's my Thursday spiel. I'm always tired. It's about to be the end of the week, time for me to rest. So I feel a little bit tired, and mentally, y'all, I'm a little bit drained. I ain't gonna lie, mentally I'm a little bit drained. I had a meeting today and it was a little draining. And so y'all pray my strength that the Lord will give me wisdom in moving forward after having had this meeting, needing to make some decisions as it relates to my job. Not that I'm leaving, but just decisions within the job that I'm currently doing. So you all pray my strength. Emotionally, I feel good though, but just mentally, I'm just, there's some things going on. So y'all pray for me. So how y'all doing? Y'all go ahead and add it to the chat, how you're doing. Go ahead and add it to the comment section if you're listening to the rebroadcast, because I really do want to hear from you. Y'all, there's so much news that is happening in the world right now, but this is not Sip and Say with Stephanie night. This is virtual lifestyle series tonight. So I'm going to get to a lot of news. I'm gonna try to cram it all in our little 2.5, 3 hours. I know I go long sometimes next week, but tonight, again, virtual lifestyle series. So we have a guest. Y'all, I can't do as much talking as I normally do. It's Bible study night because I have to honor the time of our guest. But I do have a guest with us tonight. It's nothing other than my cousin, Deaconess Tasha Owens. I have known her all of my life, and I appreciate and love her so much for who she is, for the wisdom that she brings, for just practical teaching and wisdom that she brings. And just not, so I don't only honor her and appreciate her as a spiritual leader, woman of wisdom, woman of the word, a woman of intercession, but I honor her just as my cousin, just as my older, because she's the oldest grandchild. So there's a lot of wisdom there. She's been through some things in her life, so there's a lot of wisdom there. But even when I talk to Tasha, she listens and then she responds in that godly wisdom, also that cousin wisdom. And so I really appreciate her for who she is and for all that she has been in my life, such a blessing to my life. And I know that she's going to bless you tonight as she brings forth a teaching on money matters. It's time to be smart about it. Y'all, I know we try to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, and we try to get this spiritual life together, get in our word, prayer, worship, our prophetic ministry, and listen to prophetic words and tap into prophetic words. But y'all, we can't grow spiritually if we don't have our finances in order. Come on and hear somebody. Well balanced. I wish above all that they may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So we got to get our soul right, y'all, but we got to get these finances right too. So Deaconess Tasha Owens, the financial guru, she's going to help us get our finances right tonight. Look, I got my journal right beside me. I ain't gonna show it to y'all because that's my business. And I got my pen ready, so I'm gonna be taking notes because I have an area that I'm still working on. I ain't gonna tell y'all, maybe I'll talk about it later after Tasha finishes her teaching. But I have an area that I'm working on in my finances. So I'm hoping to I know I'll get actually some tips and strategies and help tonight. Look, you all, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and add those questions to the chat as Deaconess Owens is talking, and we'll answer those questions at the end. Just go ahead and type them in. I promise I'm monitoring the chat. We'll get to all of the questions that you have. So I'm going to be quiet because I'm hungry, so I can talk. So I'm going to be quiet so Deaconess Tasha Owens can come forth in her way and give us what we need tonight. Amen.
Good evening. I hope everyone is doing well. To answer the question that was asked about how y'all doing tonight, I'm a little nervous, but we're gonna go on and just give you what I have. So I hope that's okay. All right, I am going to share my screen so that you all can see my slides here. Can you, Minister Humphrey, give me a thumbs up if you can see the slide? Okay, awesome. So my topic tonight is money matters. Be smart about it, okay? There's a lot that goes on with money. There's a lot to know about money. Sometimes some of us have not come from backgrounds where we were taught financial principles that would sustain us. And so, you know, I'm a witness that I made a lot of financial mistakes, but thank God I have been able to turn those things around with by the grace of God. So money matters. We want to be smart about it. Okay. Okay, so what are money matters? So if you think about money, what is the purpose of money? Money allows you to meet your basic and essential needs, right? You're spending on housing, transportation, food, clothing, hygiene, health. All of those are things that we need. They just come with being alive. They are basic and essential. And all of those things cost money. And we also need money for savings, for future purchases, education, retirement, anything that you might want to save for to make big purchases. All of that costs money. So collinsdictionary.com defines money matters as issues concerning money. How much is spent on basic and essential needs is different from person to person. So although we have the same basic and essential needs, the costs that are assigned to those will look different, you know, depending on your age, depending on how much money you have, just things like that. So some common issues that we think of when we think about money is not having enough income. You know, I have these basic needs, but I don't have enough income to support them. I have too many expenses. So maybe I have my income is sufficient, but I have a lot of other expenses. No or limited savings. Sometimes that's an issue too. If we are you know, spending the money that we do have, spending the income that we do have on our expenses, we might not have a lot of savings. Sometimes we have competing priorities. So let's say my washer machine broke down, but my car broke down too. So those are two things I have to figure out which is more important and prioritize that way to take care of that. Um, Money, some issues are related to lack of knowledge. I just don't know how to get out of the situation that I'm in. I don't know what to do. And also fear of the unknown. And that I think is a big one for taking some risk. Because sometimes we do have to take financial risk, and fear of the unknown is a big one for that. So if you look at this picture here, balance really is at the intersection of saving and spending. We do have to spend, yes, but we can't spend, and not save at all, right? Likewise, we can't save, and not spend anything because guess what? We can't take it with us when we go. And I don't know this to be true. I haven't had this experience, but I've heard, and people fight about it when you're gone. So we want to have balance in our saving and balance in our spending. Both are needed. So why does money matter? Why does money matter? There's a study by the University of Minnesota called Taking Charge of Your Health and Well-Being. And some of the things that they said in that study are that having enough money provides a sense of security. So when you have enough money or you have sufficient income to take care of those basic and essential needs that we talked about, then you have a sense of security. But whenever unforeseen situations arise, like a loss of income, and you can no longer meet the necessities of life, then there's some stress that's associated with that. Worrying about money can cause your health and your well-being to suffer. And we know that our well-being consists of our mental state, our emotional state, our physical state, and also our relational state. So think about the relationships you have in your home life, the relationships you have at work, including your work performance, church attendance, social engagement. All of those things can suffer if we worry about money so much to the point that it causes stress in our life. Another thing is not having sufficient income or too many expenses can cause us to feel beaten down, and it can adversely impact your sleep, your self-esteem, even your energy levels. It can fuel tension and spark arguments with those closest to you, and it can exacerbate pain and mood swings, even increase your risk of depression and anxiety. So money does matter. You know, we can't just ignore money issues because they will lead to some of the things that we're talking about. But we really have to focus on, and then also one more, sorry, focusing on money in an unhealthy way can lead to comparing yourself to others. That's a big one too that we have to look out for. And it could cause us to have an improper perspective of ourselves, which can cause dissatisfaction and distress rather than gratitude and contentment. Because no matter what financial state you find yourself in, be grateful, be content, because there's someone who would love to be in your shoes. So we're going to get some help tonight, but those are just some things that can go against your sense of security and affect your well-being. So that's the most important thing. It will affect your well-being. But tonight we're going to talk about how to have financial wellness. Another reason why money matters, it also affects our sense of status. Money is common, but it's not equal. You know, meaning everybody, when I say it's common, meaning everybody needs money. So no matter what income level you're at, whether it be low or high, everybody has basic and essential needs that need to be taken care of. So that's a common issue, but it's not equal. You know, the types of, I guess, opportunities that people have are not equal. You know, grocery stores are not in all neighborhoods. They're not, you know, accessible. That's the word I'm looking for. Some things are not accessible depending on what your financial status is. It also can cause negative feelings. Again, unhealthy comparison and improper perspective. Guess what, you guys? Not only does money matter, but your mindset matters too. And being that today we are talking about lifestyle, we are going to talk about our mindset. All right. What you do is influenced by what you think. Your mindset matters are instrumental in your relationship with money. And what you do is influenced by what you think. And it starts as beliefs and is followed by behaviors. So whatever you believe, that's going to govern your actions. So think about, what were you taught unconsciously and consciously growing up as it relates to money? One common thing that most of us probably can remember is that we were given a piggy bank as a child. Everybody remember having a piggy bank as a child? So the concept of a piggy bank is what? To save, right? The concept of a piggy bank is to save. And we might not have all been told that. So we might have been given this piggy bank, and depending on your age when you received it, you were excited about putting your pennies in or whatever. But were we consciously taught to put your coins in the bank and leave them there and allow them to accumulate? And then once it was full, maybe we emptied it out, put it either in a bank or put it somewhere where we were still saving, and then do the same thing over again. Fill up the bank again to save our coins. That may be one way that you remember your piggy bank experience, because the concept, or maybe you dipped into your piggy bank because you were going to the store and you wanted some candy, right? So that could unconsciously teach us when we become adults that taking coins out of the bank when we wanted to buy a treat is okay. The concept of saving might have been introduced, but it might not have been taught the proper principles of saving. And it matters as an adult because we're making decisions based upon those conscious and unconscious things that we were taught as children until we get new information to do something different. Another thing, what did you observe and experience that influences you today? What did you see your parents do growing up that you either practice today or avoid today because the effect was either positive or negative? Also, what did you apply and learn along the way that brought you to where you are today? It could be good or bad, but all of that goes into our mindset with in how we think about money and what our relationship is with money. So tonight, we want to sharpen our money mindset. We want to cultivate a positive and healthy relationship with money. And because the way that you view money plays a large role in your overall financial well-being. And we want to be well as relates to our finances. So this includes how you think about money, how you save and spend, and how you manage debt. Those are the three biggest areas that really matter when it comes to money. All right, you guys. So we're going to get into this acrostic tonight. Actually, I have two. Okay. So first of all, we want to be smart. Okay. And being smart is all about introspectively. So we're gonna share some things tonight that talk about how to be smart, meaning more about your mindset. Because again, we have to get our mind in check first, and then what we do is going to follow what we believe. Remember we said that? Okay, so in being smart, we want to be self-aware, mindful, accountable, resilient, and tactical. So being self-aware is understanding who you are as an individual, knowing your values, determine what concepts you value in life. That's a very big one. I'm going to try to remember to come back to that. But that's the starting part. Remember that. Determine what concepts you value in life. What brings you joy? Maybe it's your family. And then once you know what you value in life, then we could get into goals and get into strategies and things like that. But this was eye-opening for me. I will go ahead and say it now because I might forget later. This was eye-opening for me because I started to think about some of the struggles that I've been having just in different areas of my life where I set goals and haven't been able to necessarily stick to them. I eventually fell off of them. But when I was studying and came across this concept of being self-aware and what do you value. Everything is driven by what you value. And I was like, I think that's the missing link. I haven't identified my goals with what my value is. Because guess what? Whenever you have values or whatever you value, um, nothing really can deter you from that. If you think about that, um, if you value, whatever it is, nothing's going to deter you from your value. So it's going to help us to more stay focused and stay the course. Financial self-awareness is detailed knowledge about your assets, your liabilities, your spending patterns, and financial outcomes. Those are things that we need to be aware of. Simply put, financial awareness is the ability to understand your financial situation and stay on top of every financial aspect of your life based upon what you value most. And I know that seems like a lot, but we can do it. Some of us stay on top of everything else. So we can stay on top of our financial state. It's also about having an increased awareness of your strengths and weaknesses or limitations regarding your financial knowledge that will lead to improved financial wellness. So we have to understand and we have to know what we don't know, where we're weak at, so we can get the information that we need to strengthen that area. And in doing so, you'll experience confidence about handling your money, make wiser spending and saving decisions, and control over your debt and freedom. So these are some things that I want you to think about in terms of self-awareness. Are you an impulsive spender, or are you a frugal spender? You're one or the other, even if you don't know it. But just take some time to think about what you are. And once you have knowledge of that, once you're self-aware, then that can help you when we get to the practical things about what we need to do. Again, this is mindset right now, and thinking about where we are. So another question: are you a diligent saver? Or are you a sporadic saver? Are you risk tolerant, or are you a risk adverse? So risk tolerant means that you're okay to try new things. Risk adverse is like, no, I'm going to play it safe and I'm just going to stick with what I know. But sometimes we need to try different things because sticking to what we know isn't working for us. So I have another set of questions to ask you about self-awareness, because again, this is knowing about yourself. Do you know how much you have in your savings account right now? Do you know how much debt you have, meaning the number? The reason I ask that, or another one, sorry, if you need something right now, have you researched the cost? So going just beyond knowing I need something, doing the research to figure out, okay, this is what I need to do, and this is what it's going to cost. So the reason I ask you that is, what if someone says to you, I want to match your savings, I want to pay your debt, I want to bless you or invest in you? Would you be able to tell them, or would you have to say, I don't know, let me go calculate it, let me go figure it out, so I can get back with you? So think about it from that perspective, because maybe that will incentivize us. Let me get this figured out. So if God sends somebody to be like, hey, what you need? I'm going to write you a check right now. We will know what that number is. So the first thing in being smart is being self-aware, knowing who you are and what your values are. Next thing is mindful. So paying attention to how you think, how you feel, being fully present with your thoughts and your emotions, and noticing reality versus perception. And that one might be a little bit scary. Financial mindfulness is the ability to stay present and be clear about what's happening regarding your financial statement. It means sitting with yourself, being okay with sitting with yourself, all of your thoughts, all of your emotionals, the comfortable ones, the uncomfortable ones, the good ones, the pretty ones, the ugly ones, but sitting with all of your thoughts and facing them. This part is important, in a way that doesn't pass judgment or bring shame. Because your thoughts are your thoughts, and that's okay. If we sit with them and process them, and we'll be able to do something about them. So the purpose of doing this is to reveal the truth about your financial state so that you can progress and not live in denial, which will keep you in the same state or worse. Thinking about the lessons that you've learned along the way and how you can apply them to improve your current situation going away. Now, those lessons are good lessons, bad lessons. It's all learning. Even when we fail, even when we make mistakes, there's a lesson in there so that we can do something different to move forward. It's also making a conscious effort to break away from old habits that cause stress and replace them with new habits that cause success. Something else to be mindful of is when the urge for spending arises, take a few deep breaths, clear your mind, focus on being present in the moment, and ask yourself some questions. What emotions am I feeling right now? Is anything causing these emotions? What can I do to address these emotions rather than spend money? Because some people are emotional spenders. And so whenever you feel like you're emotional and you want to impulsively go buy something, go to the mall, search the internet, whatever it is, think about these questions. Why am I, trying to make this purchase? We're going to get there, but it's not in my budget. It's nothing that I have planned for. But think about those questions, and it will help you identify spending triggers that you may have and detach yourself from the emotional pool of spending money. Because in that emotional, being an emotional spender and being triggered is just so that rather than dealing with the fact that I just got this unexpected bill in the mail, rather than sitting with those thoughts and those emotions, I'm going to go to Ben and Jerry's and get me a sundae because that's going to make me feel better. But then when you get back home, that unexpected bill is still there. So that's where our focus needs to go. And one thing that I want to say about this emotional spending, it doesn't have to be big things. It could just be little things. Because guess what? Little things over time add up to big things. So I'm not just talking about going to buy big ticket items, even little things, if that's a pattern for you, every time I feel some type of way, I'm either going to get ice cream and I'm going to get cheesecake or I'm going to get something like that. That's a habit that's unhealthy. It's not only affecting your finances, but it's going to affect your physical health too over time. So being mindful of how we think and how we feel is going to help with our emotions. So a couple of things that you can do besides the deep breathing, you can meditate, you can journal to get those feelings out. And then once you do that, see if you still want to go buy whatever it was you were going to buy. And if you don't still have that urge to go buy something, then you know that, you were in your emotions and in your feelings. But when we check ourselves this way, it improves our decision making, it promotes our creative thinking, and it enhances our problem solving. Because in that example, so if I take a moment, I'm upset, I got this bill in the mail I wasn't expecting, whatever, it may be. Maybe it was you went to the doctor, you paid your copay, and then the insurance said they weren't going to pay it. So now you have the bill. That's a good example of something that's truly unexpected, because not many things should be unexpected, but that's unexpected. So if I take a moment, do some deep breathing, either meditate or journal, then I'm going to be able to make a right decision. I'm going to be able to think creatively. What am I going to do with this situation? And I'm going to be able to problem solve through the issue. So we also have to be accountable. That's taking appropriate and responsible action, acknowledging your habits and practices, and owning the consequences of your choices. Financial accountability is accepting ownership for how you choose to use your money, and it leads that how you choose to use your money that leads to both successes and failures. People who are financially accountable do not shift blame to others for their outcome resulting from the personal choices they made. They also do not make excuses about their circumstances, but they make adjustments that will yield desired outcomes. Accountability is also about being open and transparent about your financial standing. And this is the biggest trait that will define your long-term financial success. Be open, be transparent. Because guess what? What you won't acknowledge, you can't address. Okay? Things that we don't acknowledge, we can't address, and they're just going to continue in the same way. So, a couple of questions for you in being accountable. You can think about, what are your spending habits and practices? And when I say spending habit or practice, do you order pizza every Friday night? Do you have Taco Tuesday every Tuesday? Do you have Wing Wednesday every Wednesday? Like, those are habits and those are practices. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with them. I'm just giving you examples of what spending habits are. So again, in looking introspectively, this is another area that we need to identify. Every payday, are you saving? That's a habit as well. Every payday, I put $50 aside. You might get me for this one. So do you buy something new for every event that you go to? Even if, so the event is wear red, and you have a red whatever in your closet that fits and that is appropriate. But no, this is a new event, so I need to go get some new red. So those are some things that to think about. Being accountable is building positive habits and practices that lead to building wealth. It requires consistency. Being accountable requires consistency. Developing positive and good habits and practices and doing them over and over again. Being accountable is living within your means. In other words, spend less than what you make. Buy only what you can afford. Which brings me to the difference between necessities and luxuries, right? A lot of times we're saying things that we need that are not, we don't need. They're luxuries, right? What do we need? We talked about in the beginning, basic and essential needs, right? Those are necessities. Luxuries are other things. Those are things that I want, things that are nice to have. That's a good way to say it. So knowing those differences, as well as doing the due diligence in researching the best option to get the best bang for your buck, that's being accountable. Researching things that you do have to purchase to make sure you're getting the best price. Another thing about being accountable is creating a support system to motivate you, getting education that you need towards financial freedom. Finding an accountability buddy or partner that shares your values, so they're not going to try to talk you to go to Ben and Jerry's when you already said you don't need to go to Ben and Jerry's. So they need to share your values, so you can honestly discuss successes and struggles with them. And the last thing about accountability is writing positive mantras that support your values and reviewing them, reciting them daily. Resilience. Being resilient is believing you can rebound when life happens and you can recover when mistakes are made. Take inventory of your goals and where your money is going. Then set new goals that align with your values and redirect your money to achieve your goals. So I'm going to say here, I kind of look at resilience in two ways. And one of them is proactive in terms of financial resilience, sorry. So there's proactive financial resilience. That's the ability to withstand life events that impact your income, your savings, and your assets. It's being prepared for unexpected events and having options to deal with unforeseen events. So being proactive is about, having a good amount of savings. So if you lose your income is reduced, you are able to handle some things unexpected because you already prepared yourself. Reactive financial resilience is the ability to endure under adverse conditions and to rebound and recover from unfavorable circumstances. Because sometimes, whatever the circumstance is or the adverse condition, it may be more than what you're prepared to handle. But you're going through it, and then you're able to rebound, you're able to recover. You didn't give up, you didn't give in. So even if you think about the pandemic and the times of recession and how people have been adversely affected, they most likely, some are able to rebound, some are able to recover. I'm looking for something. So if you think about even the market, right? The market takes some dips, but then it recovers. It takes some twist, and then it's able to rebound. So think about resilience in that way. Resilience is also maintaining a proper attitude, finding the mental connection between adversity, your set of beliefs surrounding adversity, and your emotional and behavioral consequences of those beliefs. By challenging your beliefs regarding adversities and adjusting how you feel and behave when facing them, this will lead to better decision making and better outcomes. In order to incorporate resilience daily, take some time to go for a walk, go to the gym, practice gratitude, do journal writing again, meditation, do something that reduces stress and anxiety. And most importantly, extend yourself grace. All right. So we also want to be tactical. Being tactical is developing a strategic and intentional plan to achieve your goals and honor your values. Tactical finance is exercising good financial habits through developing discipline, studying and gathering resources and tools, and employing both offensive and defensive strategies. So if you think about this, an offensive strategy would, they call that an attack. And a defensive strategy, they call that an ambush. So giving you an example, In being tactical, you're ready to attack what is known and what's expected. So that's bills, that's debt, whatever. You have a plan to attack that. But what is it in an ambush? There's a potential threat, right? So what are the potential threats that we need to ambush? Distractions, temptations, um, things that are going to halt and derail your progress. Those are things that we need to attack and ambush. Also, tactical strategies drive our everyday moves so that we are in the best position to win. Because if you think about the military, all the tactical strategies is just how to be safe, save lives, and win. So being tactical with our finances, the same thing. We want to be in the best position to win. Last point about being tactical is create a written outline of the specific actions you will take to achieve your goal. This and base them on your values again, set a time frame or a timeline, implement, monitor, and adjust the plan as needed. So again, in being smart, we want to be self-aware, mindful, accountable, resilient, and tactical. So once we have are in a position where we're being smart through introspective means, now we want to be active. We want to do smart. So in Do Smart, we want to save more, spend less, make a budget that aligns with our values and goals, achieve good credit history and habits, repay debt, reduce expenses, and train your brain. So in saving more and spending less, there's some different things that you might want to save for there in terms of short-term purchases. Maybe there's a vacation that you want to go on. You want to save for holidays, different things that you know and are expecting to come up. Those are some short-term purchases that you might want to save for. And the reason I say save for them is so that when the time comes, you have the money already saved up and not incurring or increasing your debt. Okay. So it's okay to save for short-term things. For long term, we want to save just for being prepared, anything in life that we want to be prepared for. So that can be saving for emergency fund, saving for education, whether it's for yourself, children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, someone, young person in your life that you care about. And we also want to save and prepare for retirement. That's another kind of long-term saving goal. And again, we want to do these so we don't have to incur debt when there's something that we know we want to spend money on. Again, we want to spend money on basic essential needs first. So this is just on an ongoing basis, not saving for something to spend, but just, on a weekly basis or monthly basis or whatever. We know that we're spending on our basic and essential needs, but something else we need to, I guess, treat like spending is paying yourself. So that's another way to save. If you think about saving as an expense, I have to, not only am I paying my utilities, my rent, my mortgage, whatever, but also paying yourself. And you might want to do that through setting up automatic payments. You might want to do that just by, transferring money from one account to another account. You might want to do that. Some people use cash for that. There's like envelope systems and different type systems that some people use to save. And then once they get a certain amount, They either use that for the purchase we talked about. So I want to go on a vacation. I know this vacation is going to cost $500. So I'm going to get some envelopes and I'm going to, save that $500 that way in cash. So then when it's time for me to go on my vacation, I have my money. So there are different types of savings, and you just, find the method that works for you. This is one that was interesting that I found. Match your spending with your savings. So in terms of when you want to spend some money, deposit or transfer the same amount into your savings. So let's say, we talked about that red. I want some new red shoes, and those new red shoes cost $65. So before I spend $65 on some shoes, I need to transfer $65 to my savings account first. Because what is that going to do? That is going to make me be conscious in my priority. Because guess what? 65 to 65, that's $130. So if I look at it that way, do I have $130 right now outside of my budget? So if the answer is no, then can get those red shoes. I'm gonna keep watching them, see when they go on sale, okay? But this practice will make saving a higher priority than spending, because of course we already know a whole lot about spending. You can also practice either a no spend day, a week, or month. So in that example, you're going to choose either a day, a week, or a month where you don't spend any money outside of your budgeted expenses, outside of your basic and essential spending. You're not spending anything extra. And that's going to help you develop discipline over the urge to splurge, or the urge to spend. So again, some questions to ask yourself before making a purchase. Will you feel the same joy later that you feel in this moment? Or later, are you going to feel guilty? Later, are you going to regret that you made this decision? So when we think about things like that, it's going to help us to choose mindfully the wants that will benefit us the most, that carry value. Because the answer could be yes. I might really want those red shoes, right? So if I can transfer the money to savings, the same amount I'm going to pay for the shoes, and later I'm really still going to have joy when I get my new red shoes. I'm not going to be guilty. I'm not going to be regretful. Then, that might just be where I choose to spend something that I want. Again, this is after your basic and essential needs are paid for. So this isn't, I have this light bill due or this choice to buy these shoes and I'm choosing the shoes. No, that's not being accountable. We already talked about that. Okay. So save more and spend less is what we want to do. We also want to make a budget that aligns with your values and your goals. The budget is that tactical and strategic plan that we talked about a few minutes ago. In your budget, you want to write your values and your goals on your budget so that you're reminded of them. You're reminded of what the purpose is. I have this plan written out, but there's some times where you might feel challenged. We talked about distractions and temptations that come. So when those distractions and temptations come, go back to your budget, because in your budget, it's going to have what my value is. It's going to have what my goal is. And that's going to encourage me to stay on task. Also on your budget, include dates for completion of items and cross them out as you achieve them so that you can show progress and you can build momentum. So a budget in its simplest form is adding up all sources of income, adding up all sources of monthly expenses, subtracting the expenses from income, and you're going to get a number, which is your residual. What you're going to do with that residual is add it back to one of the expenses so that your net is zero. Remember, we want to assign every dollar a task. And the reason I think this is helpful, because this allows you to see every dollar that goes in, every dollar that goes out. Because if you're starting with your income and subtracting out your expenses and you have, $50 left, probably next week, we're not going to know where that $50 went. But if we add it back to, okay, I'm going to put this $50 in savings. I'm going to put this $50 towards my vacation cash. I'm going to put this $50, towards a bill that I'm trying to pay off, a debt I'm trying to pay off. Then I can actually see where every dollar went. A budget gives you visibility on what expenses can be cut back or either even cut out to reach your goals sooner. So when you have those expenses listed out, and maybe you have cable or whatever, all the things, and you're like, you know what? I have a goal. I want to pay this debt off. Let me go back. Let me look at my budget, see what I can cut. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But you can do that because you already have it listed out. So of course, in your budget, you're going to have expenses that they are what they are. You can't, rent, mortgage, it is what it is. You're not going to be able to reduce that. But there are some things in your budget that you might be able to reduce because you're trying to meet a goal. Because remember, and I will say this, because in that, I didn't say it earlier, but when I say in your budget, your expenses, including every expenses, when I say all expenses, I don't just mean bill. I mean anything that you pay money for. So that includes your entertainment. You want to, I don't know, maybe you get with your girlfriends or your guy friends or your family or whatever once a month. And you usually spend, I don't know, $35. That should be in your budget. Because again, you can see it, and not just because when we don't have things in our budget and we're spending money on it, again, we don't have visibility over it. So we're not going to be able to be accountable to where that money went. So, but that's something that if I have it there, entertainment, monthly family event, $35, then I can say, you know what, for the next 3 months, I'm just have to let my family, know for the next 3 months, I'm going to have to engage with you all in a different way because I have a goal and I need to cut that expense out of my budget. So that's why that's important. A budget should be both solid and fluid. So in being solid, I mean, it provides structure. So your budget, again, is providing you structure. You see your income, you see everything that's going out. Everything is transparent. But it also needs to be fluid in order to make adjustments. So maybe rigid is a better, I should have used rigid instead of solid. But in being allowing it to be fluid, you can make adjustments, review it consistently. At a minimum, once a month, review your budget and make any adjustments. And you will have some adjustments because maybe you got a raise. You're going to have to increase your income. Maybe you got a bonus. You have to, put where that bonus came in and what expense you put towards it. You might have paid off one of your credit card bills or some type of debt. Then you have to go in and adjust that in your budget. So the budget needs to be fluid so that you can make adjustments. We also want, something else we want to do is achieve good credit history. Credit history shows your trustworthiness and your likeliness to repay debts in full and on time. So some things about credit. Your credit report is considered, your credit report is considered for buying a house, for buying a car, even to purchase a cell phone bill, they're going to run your credit probably. Renting a job, renting an apartment or getting a job. Some employers check credit history before they offer a job to you. The benefit of a high score is to qualify you for financial products with the best terms, low rates, high limits, and could lead to lower, also it can lead to lower insurance rates. So that's something that I learned, that insurance companies could check your credit too. And depending on what your credit is, your rate could be higher or lower. Another thing having a good credit history can do is whenever you have to, say you're moving and you need to get utilities turned on at that location, sometimes there's a security deposit. But depending on your credit, you might have no security department or you might have a lower security deposit. So credit is not just about making those big purchases in terms of, you might think, well, I'm not going to buy a new car. I'm not about to buy a house, so I don't need to worry about my credit. No, you still should worry about your credit. Not worry about you should still be concerned about your credit. Practice good things to have good credit. Credit scores range from the number 300 to the number 850, and they're calculated based on information from your credit report using a complex formula. I don't know what the formula is, but it's called a scoring model. And so it's based on different things like payment history. So the credit that you do have that's on your credit report, are you paying those things on time and at the minimum balance? It's also affected by the amount of unpaid debt across all your accounts. So maybe you have 5 things on your credit report. So it looks at, of those 5, are any of them paid? Are they all unpaid? Things like that. It also looks at the percentage of your available credit. So if on a car, let's say you have a car there, and no, I'm not going to use a car. I'm going to use a credit card. Say you have a credit card and you have a balance. Your limit is $200, but your balance, your limit is $200. You spent $180 on it, so your available credit is only $20. That's going to give you a high percentage of available available credit, and that's going to make your score be lower. I'm sorry, I stumbled over that. I hope that was clear. So percentage of available credit. Also, the number and types of credit that you have, whether it's a revolving type of credit, which usually is a credit card, or an installment credit, which is like a car payment. It's the same amount every month for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Those are the types of credit there is. So the number of types of credit you have, and the number of credit items of outstanding loans affects your credit risk score. Also, the length of time for open used accounts affects your credit score. So things that you have had open for a long time are things that are good to remain open because it's going to boost your credit score. And then also the number of inquiries for new credit. So if you are shopping, let's say for a car, and you go to, several different places, or shopping for anything, I'll use even shopping. So when a lot of times you go to the department stores or these specialty stores, and they're already always saying, do you want to apply for a credit card? So because you're going to get 25% off of this purchase or whatever. that when they do that, they're checking your credit, and that's called an inquiry. So if you went to 5 different stores that day and you did that in all 5 stores so you can get 25% off of what you were buying, then that was 5 inquiries on your account, and that's going to drop your credit a little bit. Also, closed and paid off accounts still on your credit score, on your credit report, can also impact your score. Another thing you want to do in terms of your score is pay the amount due on time for all bills each month. Keep your credit use below 30% of the credit limit across all accounts. Also, check your credit report for accuracies, and if there are any errors, dispute them, because something could be wrong. Something you could have paid off something and it's still showing on your credit report because they haven't taken the time to take that offline. So that's achieving good credit history and credit habits. Next, we want to repay debt and reduce expenses. And in repaying debt, there are 2 methods, and you want to choose the method that works best to meet your goals and within your means, because they are different and they're good and bad for different reasons. Going back to your budget, it may be helpful to list the balance of each of your debt on your budget. So when you have your budget, you have I don't know, a belt card, a JCPenney card, a gas card, whatever you have. So note what the balance is up there so that you can see it, and that's going to help with these 2 methods. So say you have a goal to tackle your debt and reduce your debt. You want to be get debt free. Well, if you have those balances listed on those debts, it's going to help you decide which of these 2 methods is most beneficial. So the first one is called the snowball method. In the snowball method, you want to list your debt from the smallest balance to the largest balance. So whatever you owe on the debt, list them in terms of the smallest. On this one, I owe $200. On this one, I owe, $4,000, $2,000, $8,000. List them in order from smallest to largest, and focus on paying the smallest one first. So in that case, let's just say you have 5 of them. So on the number 2 through 5, you're going to just make the minimum payment on time. That part is important. But on the one that's the smallest, you're going to pay more towards that. So in your budget, if you have, I don't know, $300 a month is going to credit card debt, then whatever the minimum of the 4 are, and then make the biggest payment on the smallest one. And then once that smallest one is paid, mark that one off and go to the next one. That one's paid, mark it off and go to the next one. And you just go until all the debts are paid off. So what's good about the snowball is that you can see incremental progress faster. So because the balance is small, maybe it only takes you 2 or 3 months to pay off that one. So you're like, woo, I got one out the way. That builds your momentum, it builds your confidence. And then you're like, okay, let me do the next one. So what's the con for that is that you're going to end up paying more money overall, because maybe your smallest debt is not the highest interest one. So of course, if the higher your interest rate is, the more that you're paying back overall. But you might, that might be the solution depending on the type of money you have committed to paying off debt, knocking out debt right now. So that would be a reason that you would want to do the snowball effect. Well, I have $300 to knock out this credit card debt right now. And so, I'm going to use that. So the thing about it though, I'm not sure if I made this clear. After you pay off that smallest bill, you still have $300 to commit to the rest of them. So it's not, okay, I knocked that one out and I was paying, $50. So now I'm going to pay $250. No, it's that same amount that you've committed to now the remaining four. So that part's important. The other method is called the avalanche method, and you're going to list the debt from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. So it doesn't matter what the balance is, you're sorting them or listing them from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. And the same principle stands that you're paying the minimum on whichever one you're not focused on, but the one that you're focused on, you're paying more on that one. And then once that was paid off, you go to the next largest and then the next largest and so on and so forth. So what's good about this method is because you're paying you're paying the one that has the highest interest rate, you're paying less interest over time, and you're paying your total debt quicker. So the first one is you're paying off each individual debt quicker. With this one, you're paying off total. So if you have five and you look at whatever, among those five, you're gonna, I guess, be debt free quicker because you're tackling the highest interest rate first. But the thing that I guess the con for this one is that it requires more discipline because you may need to have a larger amount of money to be able to do that. But if you do, or again, if you get a bonus or something like that, those are well, I take that back. A bonus is not a good example because that's just putting more to it. But the reason why a bonus isn't a good example, how this works is you have to be committed to whatever that specific amount is over a set amount of period. So a bonus wouldn't be good because that's just one time. So if you do it one time, then of course that probably would be better to go to your snowball and take care of balances. But in the interest is really not, if you're doing it by interest, it's not really going to be effective because once you have to keep doing it every month. You have to commit to it until the debt is paid. So that is the con for that. So again, it just depends on what your goal is and how much money you have to commit to it. Both of them are going to work. Both of them are going to be effective. You just have to choose what's best for you. So in reducing expenses, we talked about this a little bit earlier. You want to cancel unnecessary or unused subscriptions. Subscriptions could be to magazines. Subscriptions could be to streaming channels for TV, could be to satellite radio, like whatever types of subscriptions you have in your budget that you're paying for, but you're no longer using them. Or you say that, I don't really need that, I'll just listen to music either on the radio or my cell phone or whatever. So look for that type of expense to cut when you want to, because maybe again, if you're saying, okay, I'm getting ready to buckle down and knock out this debt, you're going to have to reduce some expenses somewhere in order to free up that money in your budget to go towards your debt. So assess the cost benefit. How much am I really using this subscription or this service? Do I really need it? Can I live without it? Maybe you're the type of person that you spend a lot of time in the car going to work or every day. So for you, having that subscription, maybe let's just use again satellite radio. So satellite radio has music, it has podcast or things like that are informational. So for you, if you have to drive an hour commute back and forth to work, that might be beneficial for you to have that subscription. So it's not saying cut out everything. Again, you have to in your self-awareness see what the cost benefit is. Also, what you can do is you can downsize services if you need to cut expenses. Maybe your entertainment services, your cellular services, whatever it is. And you can do that through either requesting a cheaper plan with your provider, or switching to a new provider that's offering a cheaper plan, shopping around again for the best prices, or waiting for sales. Another key one is cooking and eating at home instead of eating out. But one thing I thought about that is, but make sure that you're not wasting food, because that's another expense. So I cook for the week because I'm meal prepping, and I meal prep for 5 days, but then I only ate the food for 2 days. It sat in the refrigerator for 2 weeks. Now I have to throw it away. Well, that wasted money. So again, be mindful of things like that. And then train your brain. So in training your brain, you want to rethink how you master your money. You work hard for your money that you earn, and you use it to benefit you and not to hinder you, right? So you master your money doesn't master you. Use it as a tool to benefit us. And in retraining our brain, or training our brain and rethinking, that's what I meant to say. Again, distinguish from needs and wants. That's going to help us use credit responsibly. So earlier when we talked about saving for things that you want to spend instead of using credit all the time, credit does have a purpose. So a lot of times you might have managed using a credit card, because a lot of credit cards now offer rewards and things like that, matching or whatever the case may be. So maybe you use your credit card for all of your monthly expenses, when you get gas, you get groceries, those types of things. But when the bill comes every month, because that money's already in your bank account, you pay the whole bill off. That is how you use credit responsibly, because two things it's going to do. Again, you'll be able to maximize the rewards that credit card offers, and you're also achieving your good credit history and building your credit score. So credit is not bad if it's used responsibly. Again, you want to prioritize saving over spending until you reach your goal. And you want to develop the mindset of an owner versus a consumer. A lot of us have a consumer mindset. We see ads, we see different things, and we want what we see. But what does an owner do? An owner is very strategic, very tactical in how they spend money for their business. So if you think about, all the companies that market to us, thinking more like that will help us. So those are ways to train our brain. So to do SMART, we want to save more and spend less, make a budget that aligns with values and goals, achieve good credit history and habits, repay debt and reduce expenses, and also train your brain so you master your money. I'm almost done. Of course, I couldn't do this and not, talk about what the word says. So money also matters in the Bible. I just have some scriptures here, if you can note down, that are going to help. Just help us, I think, in our understanding of what we talked about tonight. So I don't know if you know this, but there are over 2,000 verses in the Bible that talk about money. And money is the second most referenced topic in the Bible. Also, Jesus talked about money in about 15% of his parables. Seeking to understand God's instructions will challenge your ideas and habits on spending, saving, and serving. Remember that everything belongs to God. He is the source, and you are a steward of all that he has provided. That's something to be mindful about, even in our spending, even though these are like practical things that we can do, and these are different ways to challenge our mind, still remembering that everything belongs to God. And being his children, he is the source. So we go to him in order to get the assistance that we need, to get the strategy, all those things we talked about. Be prayerful about them and ask God to give you the plan that's going to work best for you to be a good steward of what he's given you. We also need to remember that God gives what you have the capacity to handle. We saw that in Luke chapter 12, verses 42 through 46. And when he gives us what we have the capacity to handle and we mismanage it can be taken away. But if we manage it well, it can lead to increase. We need to remember that, or to know, money is a tool or resource that is required to obtain the tangible things that we need. But God, again, is our source. God is our provider for our needs. And if you think about it, even money has printed. Even if you think about it, on money, oh, really? It's printed what? In God we trust, right? So again, remember that you are master of your money. Another thing, chase after God more than you chase after money. The last thing is, before you say money doesn't master you, or that you don't chase after master, or you don't chase after money, look at your budget, look at your calendar to see where your time and your money are spent. And that's going to let us know what's in our heart. Because remember, we talked about what you value, that's what's in your heart. Where your goals are, that's based on your mind, and the energy that's focused are our actions. So if we look at what's in our heart and our mind and where our actions are, that is going to tell the story, not us just simply saying, well, I do chase after God. Well, again, what does the budget say? What does the calendar say about our time and our money? Make sure that God is prioritized so that you are taking care of business, not just being busy. And as he is pleased, you are blessed with favor to do all that is required of you to live in wellness. So again, money does matter in the Bible. Here, I just found these awesome motivational quotes that that are not necessarily about money, but to me, they were powerful in reminding us about being self-aware, mindful, accountable, and resilient. Dr. Martin Luther King, I'm gonna have to read from the side, it's bigger. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving, right? And those things is helping us to think about being self-aware, what I can't do and what I can do. Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's about being mindful. Nelson Mandela says, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. That speaks to, did I mix those up? That speaks to resilience. I think I got this out of order. And then Gandhi says, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. That's about being accountable. And then Thomas Edison says, vision without execution is hallucination. So we can't just have a vision. We can't just have a budget and not execute it. That speaks to being tactical. And this one's just for fun. Michael Jordan says, if you quit once, it becomes a habit. Never quit. Sometimes we get discouraged and we want to quit. But just don't quit. Keep going. It's going to pay off if we keep at it. So we looked at some motivations from others, but what I want us to do is think about affirmations that we can make for ourselves. Positive I statements, they wire our brain to believe what we say about ourselves when they're consistently applied. And they help us to destroy limiting self-doubt and negative self-talk. So some affirmations are, I have the power to be financially successful person. I am grateful for what I have and excited for what I don't have yet. I am on my way to becoming the best version of myself. I delight in the financial security that is a constant in my life. I invest in myself every day. What if that's a good one to apply. Do something to invest in yourself every single day. And never give up. That kind of reiterates what Michael Jordan said. Never give up. So are there any questions?
So Deaconess Owens, I don't see any questions in the chat currently. And I actually did add a questions tab to the website and there aren't any questions there, but I got a couple. So hopefully my questions will benefit the body. And listeners, thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions, look, this is a safe space. Don't be embarrassed to ask your questions. We're not going to judge you. More than likely, the question that you have, somebody else has as well. And so my first question, Deaconess Owens, is, so I know that we should have an emergency fund and a savings fund. How much should we have in each one of those? In particular, the emergency fund, because I've been taught, Janine Thornton is another financial guru that I listen to. And so I can't remember if it was her that said it or if you said it or whoever said it, 3 times your income should be in your emergency fund. Is that still accurate? Like, this is years ago when I heard that. That's still an accurate estimation about what should be in our emergency fund?
So I'm probably going to answer the question differently today than I would have answered it before. And what I'm going to say, and I don't know, I'm going to reiterate that. Go back to your values. So what are your values and what are your goals? So I mean, I know you're probably asking just as a general rule of thumb. And I guess, the answer, I think could be different for different people, just depending on what your need, what your financial situation is. Because again, you want to be realistic. So let's just say, yes, I think a good number is 3 months, because if you for your emergency fund. So if you God forbid, have a loss of income, hopefully within 3 months you would be able to find employment, you know, regain employment and be able to rebound, as we talked about. But if that puts a stress and a strain on your budget, then don't have that as your goal, because that's going to cause you to, if it's going to stress and strain your budget, it's going to stress and strain you. And again, we're talking about healthy lifestyle living. We're talking about being balanced in our wellness, being balanced financially, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all of those things. So if, just kind of know that there are rule of thumbs out there, until you're at a place where you can fully devote to that, do what you can. So your emergency, your goal might be to put in your budget to build up, to have 1 month of emergency fund. And then once you establish that, and you can kind of work your way up to it. So again, I don't, of course, yes, that is a rule of thumb, but don't let it be I think we talked about being rigid and fluid. So we have to, not only in your budget, but as a person, because if you're just like, oh God, I gotta save 3 months, I gotta save 3 months, then that might not be healthy for you if it's not really attainable. So definitely be educated about those types of things. And maybe that's a goal. That's a perfect goal to have, and then you're going to have a strategic or tactical plan to get there. But yes. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I'm so sorry. That did answer my question. I was actually typing something in the chat for you that I didn't finish, but you'll get the gist of it when you see it. So I have another question that's in the live chat on YouTube. And the
Okay.
question is, which is good, how often is your credit report updated?
So really, it depends on and I don't know how this is done behind the scenes, but it's updated probably monthly, I would say. But it whenever the creditors, whoever your creditors are, whatever their system is for actually updating. Because remember I said, and maybe this is something that doesn't happen now. I'm not sure, but I've been in a situation before where something was still on my credit report that I now knew was paid off. And so it was contacting, the creditor, because it's the creditor that you start with. It's not, Equifax or the people who actually do the report. But, let's just say it was a medical bill. You paid it off and your balance is zero, but the credit report still shows that is up there. So you would want to contact them and make sure that they take care of that. So in monitoring your credit report every month that we didn't talk about that. No, not every month. There are some apps, I think. Well, no, there are some apps. I just don't know what all of them are, where you can check your credit report on a regular basis. So in checking the credit report, you can see, I know that I paid such and such off, and probably I would say within 30 days of paying that off, it should be reflected. But if it's not, then that's a good opportunity to check to make sure. So I would say at least every 30 days, those are updated.
Oh, great. Thank you for that. And if that answered your question I won't say your name out because, but if you have a follow-up question about your credit report, please feel free to add it to the chat. Also, I got a couple more questions. I'm gonna be quick. So I have heard the expression, I think I heard this on watching TV or a movie or something, that scared money don't make no money. And that has stuck with me. So I have smart money and I have scared money. So I feel like I'm very smart in my money. I do budget. I'm still working on my financial plan, but I do budget and I'm paying my bills on time every religiously. I got a calendar set on my phone just in case I forget. First of the month I'm paying my bills. But I like there's some other things that I want to do, but I'm nervous to spend the amount of money that it requires. Help me out.
So first of all, do your research, because I think a lot of times scared money is because it's fear of the unknown, because we don't have the information that we need to make an informed decision. So obviously, every decision that we make regarding our money, we want it to be we want to be informed. So I would say research whatever it is you're thinking about, research it, make sure that you understand the benefits, make sure you understand the downsides, if there are any downsizes, um, and you know, see how it falls in line with your values and your goals, and make a decision based upon that. there is an element of risk that's involved. So then you might need to work on your mindset to be okay with having a certain level of risk taken with your finances. You can talk to other people to see if that's something that they know about, like people that you know and you trust, and see if this is something that they've done before, or see what their thoughts are, see if they could give you any advice or any tips to help you to make an informed decision. And just know that there's probably other areas in your life where you have taken risk, maybe not tied to your money, maybe not monetary risk, but there are other areas where you have taken risk. And in being self-aware, and you believe that you are a person that tend to make good decisions once you have all the information, then try it. Take the risk. Do it on a small level. If it's something that you can do on a small level to see how it works out. And then, if it works out, then risk a little more.
Amen. I received that. And I'm going to include, I research and still be scared, but I'm going to go back to my values. I'm going to go back to our values and our goals. I'm going to go back to my values and goals. And like you said, make some small risks. Because I can risk in other areas. I'm good, but then that much. And I think it goes back to just full transparency. This is a safe space. I know all the free world listening. Poverty mindset, like it does, all the free world. But it goes back to being at a point in my life where I didn't have a lot of money and had to really navigate little money, even though I had big bills. And I think some of that residue is still there, and I recognize that, and I pray about it. And so in some instances, I can risk money, but in other things, if it's bigger, like getting to I think I'm good with the smaller things, but getting to the bigger things is just like, I just think I have to get rid of the rest of that residue. I believe it's kind of where I am. So to
Yeah.
all the free world that's listening, y'all intercede for me. Y'all pray for me, okay? All right. Praise God.
There's one saying that I heard about fear, that in times where I am afraid to do something, I think about it, and that's do it afraid. It's okay to feel fear, right? But don't let fear stop you from doing something that you feel is gonna be valuable than staying where you are, So again, we talked about being mindful. Sit with that. Sit with those emotions. Sit with those all the thoughts that you said. Childhood, not having a lot of money, all the things that you had to pitch pennies and stuff like that just to survive. Like, have a mindfulness moment, and kind of sit with those emotions. Write down. Pray about, meditate on whatever to kind of get all of that kind of out, and do it afraid.
Amen. That's good, Tasha. Deaconess, excuse me, we're in the public. So y'all didn't know that y'all were coming for a counseling session too, did y'all? Okay, I'm just saying. I told y'all at the beginning that the Deaconess Owens is a woman of wisdom, so she just gave me a counseling session that you happen to be a part of. So it's absolutely free to you. All right, just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, so I have another question, but I'm looking at the chat, and Sister Brenda says she recommends Credit Karma. I know you probably don't want to recommend any credit apps that you can use, but Sister Brenda recommended Credit Karma. It doesn't cost anything. I do use Credit Karma to keep a check on my finances. I also get which I need to actually do because I haven't done it in about a year, free credit report from the 3 major credit reporting agencies, Equifax, TransUnion, and
Yeah, I can't think of it
and the
right
other
now.
one I can't think of, but y'all know what it
I
is.
can't
I'm gonna
either.
think of
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna look it up. And so you can get your free credit report from those three agencies. What I used to do, and I haven't done it in a while, especially since the pandemic, I haven't, but I used to get one every 4 months. Like every quarter, I would get a new one because you get one free from each of them. So I
Hmm.
encourage you to check that out to keep a check on your credit as well. But Credit Karma, I was able to, your screen is still showing, just to let you know.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
so I was able to dispute something that was on my credit that I paid, and it came off within a few weeks. I actually did it
Awesome.
through Credit Karma, and it came off within a few weeks, and I did notice a difference in my points for my credit. So it really does work, y'all. All right, so we
Yes,
can
just
still
that,
see your. Oh,
I'm
never
sorry,
mind. I
but
can just. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, yes, there are lots of, just depend on what you're comfortable with. You know, there are lots of books, online resources, apps. I mean, you can find an app for everything today, just like you can find a lot of things virtually online. So there's lots of information about anything that you ever had questions about or want to know. Again, either, you know, through books, through um, apps, through online things. So yes, I don't want to necessarily
Highlight or.
highlight anything because again, I think you know you have to research and kind of do what works for you. You know what I mean? Because even
Mhm.
in terms of using something to do a budget, well, some people are good with electronics and some people aren't.
Right.
So again, you have to because guess what? If I sit here and give you electronic tools to put a budget together, to monitor your credit, to monitor your yeah, to monitor your budget and your credit, and you're not able to operationalize it because you're not good with electronics, then you're not going to do it. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to say, this doesn't work. So, but definitely you can reach out to me if there are some specific recommendations
Mhm.
that you would.
Awesome. Sounds. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. And I'm not, and just to let y'all know, the Stephanie Humphrey channel is not endorsing Credit Karma. That's just something that I use personally, and it works for me. Like Deaconess Owens said, you research, you decide what's best for you. Because I know individuals who do their budget electronically. I can't do my budget electronically. I have to have paper to pen. I love electronics, but for my budget, I need paper to pen because that's what works for me. So I totally agree. Do what works best for you. Okay, I have a question that came through. When you're close to retirement, what is a percentage of your income that you should be saving?
Um, what is a I think it goes back again. I hate to keep saying the same thing, but like, what are your goals? So if you're close to retirement, um, some questions. Do you already have saved up what you need for retirement? I would say if you own a home, is your home paid for? If you have a car, is your car paid off? So um, are there other things that you also are saving for? So do you know if the question is specific? The question is pretty much how much savings should you have in general, you
You know
think?
what? I'm sorry. I read the question wrong.
Okay.
Look, even with my glasses on, I read the question wrong. So let me try that again, Deaconess Owens. Got you asking a question, the person that asked. Okay, when you're close to retirement, what is a percentage of your income that you should be saving?
Okay. Okay. So I think what are your goals for retirement? So once you get to retirement age, do you plan to continue working full time or part time? Do you tend to, start a business so you have some other income coming in? Do you plan to retire and just, enjoy life? So it depends on, think about what your goal, think about what your retirement life would look like and how much do you need to maintain that? I hope that makes sense. And what you're comfortable with. Because again, if you're about to retire and you don't have the big bills, like you don't have a mortgage, that's probably the biggest bill that most people have. But retirement, still paying a mortgage, and retirement with not having a mortgage, those are two different spending buckets, right? Because usually your mortgage is your highest, expense in a lot of cases. So also, again, what do you plan to do when you retire? Do you plan to, again, when I retire, I'm not saying me, I'm saying you. So when you retire, do you not want to work, but you want to travel and you want to do extensive travel? Well, that comes at a cost. So you would need to, again, I think that the answer is you would need to save for the lifestyle that you want to live once you retire. And again, that's going to look different for different people.
Oh, that's good. So this question came in. Would you say that finances is a great source of stress in our society?
Yes, I think finances are a great stress. And guess what? It's a great stress. Number one, a lot of times, no matter how much money you have, people that don't have a lot of income are stressed about their finances. People that do have a lot of income are stressed about their finances. People that are single are stressed about their finances. People that are married are stressed about their finances. Just, I mean, no matter what your age is, but yes, I think that stress is, a lot of people are stressed about finances. It goes back to that security that we're talking about. You want to be secure. That's, just one of the basic needs in life we have, even from being a baby. So, I think anything that challenges that our basic needs, which security is one of them, is gonna be a place where you might be stressful. But I think that having a plan definitely helps, um, not to be as stressed. Not that you want, not so that you're not stressed to the point where it's detrimental to your health or to your well-being. I'll say to your well-being. So, um, but in having a plan, again, it also includes doing the things that you can do. So if you need more income, either getting a new job that can bring more income, getting an additional job that's going to give you income, getting a side hustle, some things that you are good at and you're passionate about, you know, using those things so that you can have more money. And again, also looking at your expenses, different things that you can cut. Again, what do you value? Do you value more um, living living what's the word I'm looking? Do you value more convenience? So, I can't live without my satellite radio. I can't live without, my direct TV. I can't live without, some of those things. Well, and that's fine, if that's what you choose. But then you have to understand that that might not be what's best for your well-being. Again, that comes with the things that we talked about. That's why I was grateful to um to be given those kind of mindset things first, actually, because again, it's hard to do kind of what you don't believe. It's hard to take actions, um just doing the same things that you've done before without, challenging yourself. And some of the habits and the behaviors that I have, where do they come from? And why do I why do I do things that I know I shouldn't do? Like a lot of the bad habits that we have concerning money is not, we're just doing them because we don't have anything else to do, or we're doing them because, a lot of times we're doing them because we don't know anything else. We don't have tools and new information that's going to challenge, or we're not aware, how we talked about like the triggers and things like that. So I think that's definitely a good place to start, to kind of do that that introspective looking, and getting ourselves introspectively kind of in check, and then looking at doing the practical things again under that new lens. And I think that will help a lot of us to not be as stressful. And then if stress is something that you feel that you have in your life, then again, use that recognition um, to to establish a goal. I'm stressed about my money, but I want to be um, I want to be content. I don't want to, be stressful. Okay, well, what are some things that I can do to move from being stressful to being content, and work on that as well?
That was good, Deaconess Owens. That was, yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. So I don't see, so thank you for that. I don't see any more questions or comments. I have one last question that I would love for you to hit about for children, because I know you are the parent of 4 children, and how early should we teach our children about finances? And how do we just give us a few things about how we should go about it? So I'm gonna just share this with the congregation. So I have nieces and nephews, but my niece and nephew has been with me the longest. When they were younger, they would stay with me for a week during spring break, and 2 weeks up to a month over the summer. So normally we would just spend auntie's money. It was fine. Everywhere we went, Tutti Frutti, wherever we went, we that's Tutti Frutti's a yogurt place. We spent auntie's money. One year they were maybe 8 or 9, 8 and 10, because however they are. I put them on a budget because I always would put where we were going for the week that they was. So I gave them maybe $25 or $35 to spend for the week, and they sat there. They looked at the schedule and they sat there and they wrote out where they wanted us to go and how much they were going to spend. Now, because I gave them the money, but I said, that's all you get for the week. You're going to have to make it work wherever we go. And they were diligent about, I'm not buying that, because that's into my budget. That's into my, like, they were very serious about that. And I shared that with my sister and everything. And it was good, but how I think they could have been 6 and 8 or 8 and 10. I don't know how old they were, but they were younger. So talk to us parents and family members about how we should teach our children. Because I even think when I went to college, I didn't know nothing about credit. Got a credit card and Looney Tunes.
Yeah, so definitely as age appropriate. For instance, we talked about the piggy bank, right? So, I mean, obviously, a 2-year-old probably shouldn't be given a piggy bank, because what are they going to do with the pennies? Put in their mouth. So at whatever age, let's say that's 5 or whatever. So I think that's a good one to start with. But I think probably the mistake that we might have made is, giving the child the piggy bank, but not teaching them the purpose. Like teaching them, okay, this is a piggy bank, and what we do, with the piggy bank, we money that we have, we put it in here, we save it, whatever, like that. That's a I think establishing teachable moments. So like that's a teachable moment, um, with a tangible tool, and teaching, what it represents, what it means. Then I think other things that you can do with kids and I think I talked about this before when I've taught, is engage them with your budget, So for instance, when you're budgeting, and I don't mean like, not that they're looking at the budget and you're telling them what you're budgeting for, but helping them to understand, you know, um, mommy, daddy, grandparents, whoever the caregivers are, helping them to understand, I do work, we have money, but with the money, we have bills. Well, before I finish with that, another thing I think that you can teach a child, we talked about the difference between necessities and luxuries. That's a good one. Um, or wants and needs, and teaching them what that means, so we do work, when we work, we have money, and with the money, the first thing that we do is take care of our basic um necessities, right? And help them to understand, because they need, I know I've had that conversation, plenty of times. You probably when one of my kids asked, can we do something? I'm like, no, because and if they wanted to do it, I might have been like, well, you want lights, don't you? You don't want to come home in the dark, right? So if you don't want to come home in the dark, then no. So and I think that that probably goes with that at whatever age, teaching them what your values are, So our value financially is, whatever it is, teach them what the goals is. But going back to the budget is, I think when they have an understand, because if we don't say anything, this is what a kid knows, right? A kid knows, I saw mama, daddy, whoever go somewhere. They went to an ATM and then they came back with some money and then we went, whatever. They don't understand, you know, all that's behind that. So I think teaching them what's behind kind of what they see will help them understand, so that they understand again, um, there's we have income, we have expenses, and sometimes there's in the budget, there are things for special treats, whatever that is. Once a month, we have on a Friday, we can do whatever you want to do, but just involving them, I think, in those type decisions and in those activities that you do, will help them, because then they'll become adults and they will know those things. I think even if we don't always model them correctly as parents, but if we explain to them the concepts, they can take that with them. Does that make sense? Because even in us saying a budget, so maybe we've told them that we can have go out to eat um on the first Sunday after church and communion, because they might understand, they might not understand first Sunday, but they might understand communion. So every first Sunday we have communion, then we can go out to eat. So that's what we're telling them. But then let's just say we started going out to eat on Wednesday or Saturday or Thursday. So again, unconsciously, what are we teaching them? We're teaching them that, we said, mom and daddy said that we have this budget, that we do this, but they're doing, and then they're not going to say anything, obviously. But again, as adults, those are kind of the things that are inconsistent. We don't. So again, I think, with the piggy bank, um, giving them a piggy bank, help them to understand the concept of saving at an early age, helping them to understand the concept of a budget, helping them to understand the difference between necessities and luxuries, um, and explaining, kind of the why um, it is. And I think, probably questions will kind of decrease, because it'll be expected. Like I remember, shopping for my kids. I would always, when it's back to school, things like that, I would always like go straight to the sale rack or clearance rack or whatever and start there. And then I remember one time, and it's nothing I told them, it's just something that I did. And then I remember one time as they were older, I don't remember how old they were, but we went to a store and then I heard one of them say, Mama going straight to the clearance rack first. Like I never told them that, but it's something that they observed. And, so it was still teaching them something, even though I didn't, wasn't consciously doing it. So I think, make those. And then that probably was a teachable moment. So then I probably took time to say, well, there's 4 of you. So yeah. So then, so that they kind of understand why you do the things that you do, and it's going to help them as they become an adult. So I think the age is just at whatever age that's appropriate, because it might not be the same. Again, I have 4, and kids are different. And you have to kind of deal with them and treat them according to where they are. You can't just say, well, I'm gonna teach all of y'all the same way at the same time, this particular principle, because somebody might not be at the level where they can understand it. So I think it's just you know teaching them age appropriate things, and then as they get older, I guess a good time or a good indicator is when they start asking questions, because of course when they start asking questions about things, that means that they're curious. So that might be a good time to start talking about different concepts with money. Because yeah, I remember before asking, can we go to McDonald's? um I'm like, no, I don't have the money. Well, can't you just go to that thing and get the money out? Well, yeah, you can when there's when there's money in there that's not already accounted, for certain things. So again, that's a teachable moment, right? Or, I remember even saying like, you think money grows on trees. Like money don't grow on trees. Like that's something that we say in kind of maybe frustration because they keep asking for something. But again, make it a teachable moment so that they, again, know and understand where you're coming from and what's going on. I think that's going to help as they get older.
Amen. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much for that. I tell you, I think about, ooh, yeah, children definitely think you got all the money in the world because they see you as the provider. So they're like, mom and dad can provide everything that I need. Not so, not necessarily. Or everything they want and need. Most of their wants.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. All right. Well, thank you. I don't see any other questions or comments. I actually have one more, but I'm not going to share because it's already 8:29. I'm not going to ask it. But I was thinking about the sale. Just because it's on sale don't mean you need to spend the money. You got to
That's
match
right.
it with your values. What
That's
you say?
right.
Let me look at my notes.
Match your
Match it
spend
with
with
your
your
values
savings.
and your goals.
That's right.
And what did you say, Deaconess Owens?
I said with your savings. I mean, yeah. So remember I said save what
Oh,
you
and match it
spend.
with your savings. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I wrote that
So if
down.
you're
Yes.
gonna spend it, you also have to save it. That
That's
that's a
right.
new
I was like,
concept that I just learned, but I was like, wow,
that's
that's a good way to put things into perspective.
it is. Yeah, that is. We would cut down
Yeah,
if we follow that principle. I think it'll cut down a lot of our, I'm gonna say, unnecessary spending.
it
And
will.
I believe
And going back to the question about saving for retirement, if we and of course another thing, the younger we are when we put these principles into place, the better off we are when we get older and it's time for retirement and things like that. Because as a young person, if you have the concept save more, spend less, then that cuts out some stress that a lot of people have, valuing saving over spending. So yeah, but again, it's just being educated, training your brain to kind of um, not necessarily follow what you've been doing or what you've been exposed to, or but being open to receiving new information so that you can
mm,
do things differently. And just knowing
Yeah.
it's never too late. So don't think that it's too late. Whatever your financial status is right now, whatever your, credit score is right now, whatever income you have, whatever debt you have, it's not too late. Start today, and stay consistent. Don't give up, and you know, again, mark off those goals as you reach them. I think that's key, because again, that's going to encourage you. It's going to help you to, be more comfortable, take some risk, and it's going to, help you stay on track and be able to reach your goals.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Deaconess Owens, for this amazing, wonderful presentation. It was done in excellence, presented in excellence. And I ain't gonna tell y'all how many pages of notes I have because I ain't none of y'all business, but I wrote down some notes for me to go back, in the words of Tabitha Brown, but I'm gonna go back and look at the notes. And I'm already thinking about what time tomorrow while I'm sitting at my desk on my work that I'm gonna be listening to this video again. You gave us some great information, great wisdom, great strategies. Thank you so much for the time that you took to plan this presentation and to present it to us. We appreciate it so much. One of the comments that came in and said, hold on, it was a thank you very much for the presentation. And another comment said, absolutely beautiful presentation. So just wanted to share that feedback with you. So
Thank
thank
you
you
for
so much.
having me.
Wow. Yes. And
Thank
you
you.
all let me, oh, you're welcome. And you all, let me tell you this, Tasha has been teaching finances for Be Free Ministries for many years now. And every time she gives us a presentation, it's something new, it's something fresh, it's something that I can take and use and apply it to my life. Because in October, she talked about finances and she gave us the acrostic RIGHT, RIGHT. It was a lot of information, so I don't have time to go through it now. But what stuck with me the most there is a financial plan, making a financial plan. Full transparency, safe space, I don't have a financial plan. I have some ideas formulating in my mind, but I don't have anything down on paper. 5 years, 10 years, and I need to work on that. So it's stuck, even though I hadn't done it yet. It's the Lord has kept that with me so that I can actually sit down and make a financial plan for my life and retirement and all of that good stuff. So again, thank you, Deaconess Tasha Owens, for y'all. We got to get this money. Be smart. Deaconess Owens said, "Be smart and do smart." Be smart. Y'all can't tell me that next year around about this time that your finances are out of whack, because now that you have the information, now that you have the strategies, now that you have the wisdom, you are responsible to apply. Y'all hear? Let me do my teacher glasses. You are responsible to apply. So don't tell me that your finances fell out of whack next year when we hold you accountable. Okay, take the principles that Deaconess Owens shared with us tonight and apply them to your life, and then be a disciple and share it with your family, your spouse, your children, your friends, your enemies. It's okay. You can teach your enemies too. The Lord said we love everybody. We can teach our enemies too, so that we can all have our finances right, so we can be smart and do smart with our money. Amen. Amen. Y'all, I know it's time. It's 8:34. Let me give Deaconess Owens, do you have a few announcements? Anything that's
Um,
happening in your life or the church life that you want to share with the congregation?
I don't. I didn't prepare for that. I can't think of anything at the moment.
Okay, so I'm gonna give my announcements, and before you pray, if you think about something, then you can let us know.
Okay.
All right, so look, y'all, the virtual lifestyle series continues next month on May 11th. Fit, firm, fabulous, and fine. I added the fine for the men. Just wanted y'all to be a part of it too. It's not just for the ladies. So you're gonna be fit, you're gonna be firm, you're gonna be fabulous, and you're gonna be fine. My physical health, about to say evangelist, which might be coming, but
Yes.
missionary Darlene Jameson, she will be bringing forth this teaching next week. She is going to give us the teaching. She's going to give us an exercise routine, so we can't say we don't have the skills to apply. She's going to give us a little routine. So join us next month, May 11th, right here on the Stephanie Humphrey channel at 6:30 p.m. as we continue the lifestyle series. Look, you all, on Saturday, April 15th, this Saturday, Aunties Against Abuse, we are celebrating 3 years of ministry. Woohoo! At 9 a.m. on the Aunties Against Abuse YouTube channel. I will add the channel link to the comment section after the rebroadcast. so that it's easy access for you to join us 9 a.m. on Saturday. We're going to give you some highlights from the ministry. We're going to go do an activity with you. And then if you have a young lady aged 5 to 18 that would like to join us at 10 a.m. for the teaching session, we'll give you that information as well. Look, we're also fundraising for our anniversary celebration fundraiser. We are trying to raise $1,000 to pour back into our young ladies and to jumpstart our scholarship fund, which we'll tell you about a little bit later. But if you are able, we encourage you to donate to Aunties Against Abuse. Again, I will add the link to the comment section for easy access. Last thing I want us to consider, you all, this week, started yesterday up until the 17th, is Black Maternal Health Week. Black Maternal Health Week works to reduce Black maternal mortality. If you don't know, Black women are I think I can't remember the statistics right now, so I didn't write it down, but we are more likely to die. Even educated, financially well-off Black women are more likely to die from giving birth than the poorest white woman. It is a percentage to it. I didn't write it down. I'll look it up and add it to the comment section so you'll have it. I'm actually going to talk about it next week. But y'all, let's just get educated about our health. If you're pregnant and you're feeling pain or discomfort or anything in your body, talk to your healthcare professional. If you feel like they're not listening to you, then you can go to somebody else. It's all good. It's okay. There's too many testimonies from spouses, like from husbands, from family members, where their wife, their daughter, their niece passed away unnecessarily. Because oftentimes the testimonies, or the stories rather, have come that the healthcare professional did not listen to their concerns. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about it next week, but I just wanted to give you the information. You can go on the Black. Let me see where I wrote it down. The Black Women's Health Initiative. You can look up their website to get more information, and also for the CDC. I'll add those links to the comment section for easy access as well. All right, y'all. Next Thursday at 6:30 p.m., Sip and Stay with Stephanie, y'all. I got some sayings for y'all next week. I got some news, some things that we need to talk about. So join me next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. right here on the Stephanie Humphrey channel. Thank you again for joining us. I got one more question that came. Oh, no, it didn't. Hold on. Let me make sure. All right, we got everything. All right. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Take care. Be blessed. And if nobody has told you that they love you, I love you. We at Be Free Ministries, we love you. This is Be Free Ministries signing off.